Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to Season 2 of Royal Clan in ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generator game. When we left off in the previous episode, we had 3 new royal apprentices, which was, I think, a hopeful turn from the death of Quillrunner, which I think sent shockwaves through the clan. And even though things were off to a pretty decent start, we hit rock bottom when we sent out River Whistle on a patrol by himself and he came across a dog that killed him. And it was even more tragic because the whole time he knew, like as soon as he set sights on that dog, knowing he was on a patrol by himself, he knew where this was going to end. He knew he was going to die, and still, instead of turning back, running away, and it breaks my heart because he was nervous. He was a nervous cat. Like, imagine the emotional stress he must have gone through, knowing that right now the clan is relying on him to lead this thing away. Nobody's gonna know until it's too late, but he led this dog away from the clan. In the end, the dog did manage to catch up to him and kill him. But throughout the whole thing, even in his final moments, he didn't have like a single thought of escaping because he knew that was beyond his capabilities. All he was focused on was trying to get this thing as far away from the grotto as possible and doing his duty as a warrior. River Whistle! River Whistle! So there we go. We did manage to lose him, and I think that was another death like too close to the one beforehand. The clan's gonna have a rough time, guys. But it is the second turn of Leaf Fall. We are at Moon 115. All of our alliances have been maintained, and I imagine the story of River Whistle is probably going to travel to all of the other cats and the cat groups living in the forest, because I think that is honestly one of the most honorable things I've seen a cat ever do across my clans. Let's take a look. So, Icicle Speck picks himself up out of his nest and begins the day anew, a fresh conviction in his heart. So Icicle Speck was River Whistle's father, of course. He had already been mourning the death of Quillrunner, but I think Icicle Speck, he wants to, live up to his son's legacy, right? His son's legacy of keeping the clan safe, and he feels as though the part that he needs to play is get out of the medicine den and start doing his job as a royal physician and making sure everyone can be happy and healthy. Inkfeather travels to Snowy Clan to resolve some recent hunting disputes. However, it seems Inkfeather only made Snowy Clan more upset. Yeah, I think Inkfeather maybe went to one of these independent cat groups to warn them about the dogs in the area, and instead, maybe she pointed out the deaths and the injuries they've had and freaked out the other clan or the other cats. So they're kind of more worried and upset about the fact that they have dying cats and they feel like the forest has become very unsafe. But that wasn't kind of the intention of Inkfeather. She just wanted to make them kind of more aware of what's happening. And then some good news. Ghostfeather has healed from his broken bone. Ghostfeather then overdid his last sparring session and sprained a paw. I can see how Ghostfeather wouldn't want to kind of hang around waiting, especially knowing how dangerous the forest is getting. He would want to kind of get straight into training. I can see him being worried that he's falling behind, and then obviously, spraining his paw. Garlic Glow picks herself up out of her nest and begins the day anew, a fresh conviction in her heart. So she was River Whistle's mother, and Garlic Glow, similar to Icicle Speck, she's coming out of her grief for Quillrunner, but I can kind of see how Garlic Glow as well, she wants to live up to the legacy of her son, and even though she is an elder right now, I think she feels as though she can give everyone some comfort and emotional support. And then Lotus Paw falls into a river but is saved by Inkfeather. How intriguing is that? Especially because the cat that passed away was, River Whistle. So I kind of had this idea that Lotus Paw, who is quite bloodthirsty, wants to go out and hunt, maybe hearing about the death of River Whistle, wanted to go hunt down that dog. So he kind of ran out of camp, he ran away from the grotto to go down to one of the rivers where he maybe scented the dog's trail to. And then he kind of heard the river whistling by, and he almost felt as though it was River Whistle guiding him. But then he fell in, and just in time, Inkfeather kind of pulled him out, because Inkfeather was actually walking around in the forest trying to go ahead and warn some of the other clans about danger. And she probably heard, again, the river whistling, and who knows, maybe that was River Whistle helping to bring these two cats together and helping to warn Inkfeather that Lotus Paw is in danger. So, there was that incident. We had a near drowning, which freaked me out. And then the morning begins. River Whistle is dead. Garlic Glow's heart seizes at the news, her mind racing as she tries to imagine life without him. Things are never going to be the same now. Could never be the same without River Whistle. She refuses to accept it. And then Queen Rainstar will miss River Whistle truly. There was no other cat she trusted more, and she already misses River Whistle's steady presence at her side. Cats come to her afterwards, offering her the biggest, juiciest pieces of fresh kill, but she refuses it all, staring at the walls of her den in silence. The past moon, River Whistle has taken their place in Star Clan. Royal Clan mourns their loss, and their clanmates will miss the spot they took up in their lives. Moments of their life are shared in stories around the circle of mourners as those that were closest to them take them to their final resting place. And just really quickly, River Whistle... Yeah, okay, River Whistle was the mentor to Fierce Tooth, so this was the cat that Queen Rainstar entrusted her daughter to. So I can kind of see how, in that way, Queen Rainstar would have probably valued River Whistle a lot and would have taken his death quite hard. Okay, let's take a look at the Medicine Cat Den. It's good to see Icicle Speck up and back at his work. Icicle Speck was given Juniper as treatment for grief-stricken, and then he recovered from that. Ghost Feather was given Cobwebs as treatment for broken bone, and then he miraculously healed. Garlic Glow was given Juniper as treatment for grief-stricken. Garlic Glow recovered from that. Queen Rainstar was given Juniper as treatment for grief-stricken, and then Icicle Speck gathered Catmint this moon. Now let's see the relationships, see what's going on this front. Icicle Speck is inspired by Cinnamon Tail's confident demeanor. Icicle Speck thinks very often about Fierce Tooth. Shining Stripe heard an ugly rumor about Scorchpaw, which is not good, considering that Shining Stripe is Scorchpaw's mentor. Shining Stripe, Hemlock, and Fierce Tooth had a nice talk while eating. Shining Stripe isn't afraid to ask Foxclaw a difficult question. Flarefreckle can't stand being around Inkfeather. Flarefreckle got a bunch of cats up for morning stretches, and they didn't like it. Flarefreckle and Scorchpaw realized they were the only ones that saw a shooting star. Bearpelt watches Fierce Tooth wind up for a sneeze, but it never happens. Fierce Tooth's ego about something irritates Bearpelt. Oh no. This is not good, because Bearpelt might not approve of Fierce Tooth being, one of his son's mentors. Not good, not good. And I mean, come on, that's your niece. How can you not get along well with your niece? But then again, Shining Stripe isn't getting along well with one of your sons. You know what I've realized? I feel like Bearpelt and Shining Stripe treated their sisters' children very differently to how they treat each other's children. I don't know what it is, but something about Flarefreckle. Flarefreckle was like their little angel. Well, Bearpelt is younger than Flarefreckle, but still, Flarefreckle was like their angel, and her kids were, her little angels by extension. But no, for each other's kids, the brothers can be a little bit tough. Inkfeather is impressed by Foxclaw's competence in any situation. Lionpaw said something about a clanmate that concerned Inkfeather. Foxclaw and Hemlock chat idly about the latest meeting. I wonder if Lionpaw said something about his brother kind of going out to hunt that dog and nearly getting himself killed because Inkfeather did save him from drowning in the river. And maybe that kind of disturbed Inkfeather a little bit because she didn't realize kind of how bloodthirsty Lotuspaw was. Foxclaw, Cinnamon Tail, and Icicle Speck took a sunbath and had a little small talk. Fierce Tooth mentions that Foxclaw looks good today, which is good, so she is working up some courage to actually, make an effort with Foxclaw instead of just being pursued by him. Only Ghostfeather and Lionpaw know the details about a specific piece of clan drama. Ghostfeather and Lionpaw. The last negative thing to happen was Inkfeather noticing something that Lionpaw said about Lotuspaw, so maybe Lionpaw then came and kind of told that bit of drama to Ghostfeather. Ghostfeather thinks Lionpaw keeps getting in the way instead of helping others. Oh, not good. Maybe Ghostfeather, he got that piece of drama and then he was like, okay, so what are you going to do about it? How are you going to help either keep everyone safe or keep your brother in check? And maybe Lionpaw being childish. Ghostfeather, as soon as he recovered actually from his broken bone, we did say that he wanted to get back into training straight away, and he kind of overexerted himself and sprained his paw. Lionpaw being childish, probably, despite, gossiping, isn't actually focusing on training, and Ghostfeather feels as though he's getting in the way. Why are you talking about others if you're not going to do anything about it? Freezefur and Ghostfeather find a hidden part of the territory and keep it a secret together. Freezefur swaps favorite prey with Fierce Tooth. Garlic Glow wants to be closer to Fierce Tooth. Freezefur guides Garlic Glow to someone she is looking for. Queen Rainstar gets excellent advice from Lotuspaw about something she had been worrying about. Queen Rainstar shares a bit of shelter from the rain with Foxclaw. Cinnamon Tail suspects that Fierce Tooth gets special treatment. Hemlock threatens Ghostfeather with exile. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on over here because Ghostfeather is actually the queen's right hand. So the fact that she is waving this piece of authority she has around and threatening Ghostfeather with exile, why? Why, Hemlock? I wonder if it's because Foxclaw, not Foxclaw, what am I saying? Lionpaw is one of her sons, and she doesn't like the way Ghostfeather after recovery is talking to one of her sons. Maybe she's feeling protective over all three of them, given, the near drowning that happened, given that one of the cats died recently, well, a couple of cats died recently. She's kind of extra freaked about them going out on patrols, getting into trouble, and now she's kind of getting a bit sensitive of some of the cats within the clan. If you threaten my sons in any way, or if you, if you're making life difficult for my sons, if you're trying to break this kind of innocence, then I'm not going to stand for it. Hemlock notices how rude Freezefur is being to a clanmate. Fierce Tooth can't remember a word for the life of her, but Garlic Glow helps her remember it. Lionpaw doesn't understand how Scorchpaw got so good at hunting. Oh, Lionpaw's getting a little bit of jealous of his youngest brother. And I wonder if that means Scorchpaw is the most talented one of the batch. I don't know, but then we said he has an advantage because his mentor is the most experienced, and Lionpaw has the least experienced mentor, so, Cinnamon Tail gives Lotuspaw a big piece of fresh kill. Scorchpaw learns about Flare-Freckle's struggles and is surprised how well she carries herself. Oh, I wonder if Scorchpaw was spending some time with his aunt, and he kind of, was curious about his older cousins, Quillrunner and Frostfade, and then he kind of learned more about her own struggles and the loss of her sons. And then obviously we have the cat's Mourning, River Whistle. So okay, that is all we have for events. That's all we have for events. So let's wrap up over here and move on to the cat list. Let's continue with our cat list. So a quick reminder on our loyalties. In terms of relationships, there were no major changes that I noticed. Now, I made a bit of a mistake because I did go ahead earlier and actually do the mediation or the matchmaking, but we'll jump in with Inkfeather really quick anyways to take a look at Foxclaw and Fierce Tooth. So they did have a successful matchmaking with each other, but they did not get any boost in romance. So I think we can say that because everyone is so stressed about how dangerous the forest has become, they're so not so dangerous, but yes, as in, what am I saying? Basically, the forest has become dangerous and everyone's worried about protecting each other and protecting the grotto. So their minds are occupied with things other than romance and relationships, which is why I think Fierce Tooth and Foxclaw have taken a little bit of a step back and did not get kind of, in over their feelings. Okay, let's see what everyone's doing for the day. Queen Rainstar wants to train, obviously to, help protect the clan a lot better. Hemlock took a long walk on her own to mourn River Whistle in private. Oh, Hemlock. Icicle Speck arranged the flowers for River Whistle's vigil. That was his son after all, that was his son. Inkfeather is making sure that everyone has eaten well. Shining Stripe had a nice chat with a kitty pet. Fleffreckle is tossing moss balls around. Bepelt is picking the birds from his pelt. Foxclaw is crushing leaves under his paws, so he's helping out at the medicine cat den. Ghostfeather tries to set a good example for younger cats. Freezefur is conducting a rather rigorous training session for the younger warriors. Again, I feel like everyone's kind of about protection right now. Cinnamon Tail keeps thinking that his brother, I think younger brother River Whistle is only sleeping. Oh, Cinnamon Tail! Was it his younger brother? It was actually his younger brother. Oh, Cinnamon Tail. And that was his, his kind of shy younger brother who didn't really like getting involved in a whole lot of things or being in the limelight. Fierce Tooth is spending time with Garlic Glow. Scorchpaw is exhausted after a patrol. Linepaw hopes he'll learn something new today. Lotuspaw has been training very hard recently. Okay, look at that. Garlic Glow is crushing leaves under her paws. So Garlic Glow and Foxclaw are spending time helping Icicle Speck out at the medicine cat den. Okay, good to note. And thinking of River Whistle, it's kind of wild that River Whistle never liked being in the limelight, but the way he died was so legendary, I feel. He died in such a memorable way and in such a heroic way for someone who never liked kind of being the one that everyone looked at, for being the one who never liked being in the light, essentially. So, oh, River Whistle. I feel like this is going to be one of the most memorable deaths we've had, just because of his personality and, the way he died. I would have expected something like this from Cinnamon Tail. Someone who would confidently be able to lead the dog away, maybe get in over his head and perish from that, but not someone like River Whistle, who kind of knows his limitations, knows how nervous he is, knows that he freaks out easily, that he's not as capable as maybe his brother is, overthinks things a lot, doesn't like being the hero, doesn't like being out of the shadows, and yet from the moment he saw that dog, he knew this was going to be his last day in the forest. River Whistle? Every time I think I'm over it, it just comes back to me, Comes back to me and claws out my heart. Okay, well, I think we can start looking at rankings for the youngsters, though, to see who might be the most talented of the batch. I know Scorchpaw, Linepaw, was kind of jealous that Scorchpaw was really far ahead of him in hunting techniques, but then Lotuspaw has been training very hard, so I don't know who would be kind of in the lead. Oh! Scorchpaw has 10 experience, Linepaw has 9, okay, and Lotuspaw has 9. So Lotuspaw and Linepaw are tied for second place, but it seems as though Scorchpaw is the most talented, I would say, sibling they have, the youngest brother, but he also has the advantage of a really experienced mentor in Shining Stripe. So we're gonna have to see if this ends up kind of staying this way. I feel like both Lotus Paw and Lion Paw in a way have kind of shown their interest maybe in kind of getting ahead of the others. So this might be kind of a ranking that changes quite frequently. We've had instances in the past where it's been quite clear within the litters, like who's ahead and who's far behind, but right now it seems as though everyone is really close to each other. Like all of these brothers in their own way are either ambitious or talented. Lotus Paw to me feels very, very ambitious because he's actively wanting to get ahead and train. But Scorch Paw, I think we said, he doesn't think much and he just follows Shining Stripe's arrangement. So I kind of feel like there's a lot of talent in play. But okay, that is quite fascinating. Well guys, let's go ahead and wrap up our cat list and move on to patrols. It is time for us to do our deadly patrols, because it has been deadly recently, but we currently have 167.9 prey and we need 40. Our Royal Physician is actually feeling pretty good, so he's going to go out first of all and see what he can find. Leafwall holds the last chances to stock up on herbs that will die off in Leaf Bear, and Icicle Spec heads out to gather fresh mallow for the stores. Proceed. With the Leafwall mallow starting to die back in the next step in its endless perennial cycle, Icicle Spec collects all he can. That, as it turns out, is actually quite a lot. So mallow was gathered, and then we're going to have 2 patrols of 6. So first up, we have all the apprentices. So Bear Pelt is going to be keeping close eye on his son Lotus Paw. So this is the first time they're going on a patrol together. Seems as though Fierce Tooth has decided, along with Shining Stripe, that they want Bear Pelt to supervise all of his sons this time round. Which is fair enough. So yeah, Bear Pelt is going to supervise all of his sons, so we'll see how that goes. And then we also have Cinnamon Tail and Foxclaw. So maybe they're feeling a little bit nervous because of the dangers recently, and they feel like maybe Bear Pelt is going to be, the best supervision for them right now. And maybe the youngsters will feel a bit more secure under their father. But I don't feel like, even though Lotus Paw was drowned, I don't feel like he got rattled by that at all. Like, he was back in camp and doing training as hard as he could. So, I don't know, we'll have a look. Bear Pelt suggests this might be a good chance for the cats to practice new hunting techniques, particularly with apprentices present. Look at that. Bear Pelt is like, we're going to do a safe patrol where nobody gets injured, where nobody is in danger. And yeah, we're just going to go to the safe corner of the forest where I know we're not going to come across any predators, and we are just going to train. Yeah, I like this. Everyone has a nice practice session, picking up a good selection of new tricks to try out on the next hunting patrol. Lotus Paw really gets into it, and Bear Pelt praises him for his focus and enthusiasm. Excellent, and now we have a patrol of 5. Okay, so I misspoke. I thought it was 2 patrols of 6. No, it was a patrol of 6 and a patrol of 5. So now we have Fierce Tooth, Freeze Fur, Flare Freckle, Shining Stripe, and Hemlock. So let's see what they get up to. The patrol hears a cat begging for their housefolk to come back, just barely intelligible over the sound of a monster speeding away. Proceed. Hemlock finds a kitty pet collapsed by the thunder path, wailing for his housefolk. Hemlock comforts him, asking why he was left here. The only explanation he has is that he's sick. Perhaps he was too much of a burden? Hemlock offers him a place in Royal Clan, or in Servant Clan I should say, at least until he recovers. He tentatively accepts, looking longingly at the thunder path as he's led away. Shadow Arch has joined the clan. Your clan's reputation towards outsiders has improved. So who is this Shadow Arch? Okay, this is Shadow Arch. He looks pretty cool. He is an adult male with silver eyes and a single stripe pelt. He's lonesome and an impressive climber. We're going to destroy that accessory, and I want to take a look at how he looks when he's healthy. Oh, he's a pretty cat. I love the single stripe pattern. I don't know what it is, but I find that I am often very obsessed with the cats that come in with a single stripe, or cats that are born with a single stripe. Like, I love it so much. It looks so good. But okay, he is going to be sent to Servant Clan, of course. And guys, that is all we managed to get done today. But okay, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.